Wise man once said, all things must pass, and that's exactly what we're talking about today, and That's So Hard to Say Goodbye, Part 10.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here. Welcome back to the channel for another edition, a continuing saga, as we're talking about That's So Hard to Say Goodbye, Part 10. Yes, the 10th in a continuing series of things every single hardcore or regular collector goes through in their life, as sometimes you have things entering your collection, but also you have things exiting your collection. And maybe you're over it, maybe you're just not into it anymore, maybe you need the money. Whatever the reason is, real collectors have things coming and going at all times. I definitely have a lot more coming in than going out, but there is times, like in today's video, where things are going out. And this is one that's been touched on in the past here on the channel, but I've had a lot of messages, a lot of video comments, things like that, asking for an update here, and I figured this would be the perfect time, as it's been 2 years since we originally talked about this on the channel. Now, a lot of longtime viewers of the channel know about me and my music collection, all that kind of stuff over the years. I even did a video on YouTube, and I'll put the description in the link in the description below here for everybody. If you've never seen that video, you can check it out. But I did a walkthrough of my music collection, my CD collection, a one-off video where we went kind of display by display, set by set of all those, so you can get a sense of what we're working with here. And I was just shy of 12,000 CDs in my collection. A huge, massive collection that I started building when I was about 10 years old. Of course, I was a kid growing up. Cassettes were the thing. I was a little too young for vinyl. I was into cassettes. And then, of course, the transformation over to CDs. In about 89, 90, those started to be more readily available at a cheaper price. That's where I jumped in, and the ball never stopped rolling from there. I had a huge CD collection that I worked on for many years. As you guys know, I've traveled the roads, for work, and then in the meantime, when you're done with work for the day, I'm in a weird town. Hey, guess what? I'm going to hit the vinyl store, the record store, the CD shop, whatever it may be, and I gotta say, just to toot my own horn, one of the best metal collections in history. Yes, you heard it here first. But huge metal collection. I'm not a vinyl guy. I know a lot of people like vinyl in this day and age. Honestly, I don't get the hype on vinyl. I think it's just a trick of the music industry to make you buy things all over again. It's once again, we talk about it on action figures all the time. Let's make the most, get the most out of our molds. That's vinyl to a certain degree. People say it sounds better. I don't think it does. CDs, still digital, perfect quality. I know a lot of people like the streaming stuff. The quality is not the same. We all know that. Cassettes, there's no room for cassettes anymore, but I get the experience of vinyl. It's fun to sit down on your couch, put the record on, put the turntable, clean the needle, do all the work. I'm not that big into it. I like the CD. I can pop in a CD player, have a nice system, off to the races, go from there. But I primarily listen to my CDs, and this is the start of the story here. So I primarily listen to my CDs that I have been buying for many years. I listen to them in my car, my company car primarily, as of course I travel the roads for work on a daily basis, more so back in the day than I do now. But I used to travel a ton. I was on the road every single week, over 100,000 miles probably on the road a year on average most years. So what did I do when I was driving? This is the days before Sirius XM and all that kind of fun stuff. I listened to CDs, and where everybody always gives Kyle a hard time for, you've never watched movies, you've never seen all these movies. Well, I can flip that back around. I've probably heard 20,000 plus albums in my life. I've listened to so much music, so many catalogs of so many bands over the years. Where you guys were watching movies, sitting on the couch in the dark doing that, I was out doing things. I was, working out. I was on a dog walk. I was traveling in my car. I was listening to CDs the whole time I was doing that. So I had a lot of fun, a lot of years, learning music, all studying, all the kind of stuff, deep dives into things, you name it, while I was on the road. Well, things have changed. Company cars have changed. And guess what? My brand new company car I got 2 years ago, let's call it, had no CD player in it. And it's a company car. I don't technically own the car. I get it free. I get to use it for personal. I get to use it, all that kind of stuff. It's a nice perk of my job for sure. The free gas is a nice perk. That's one, especially in this day and age. It saves you a ton of money, of course. But unfortunately, no CD player in the car, and I can't change it. I can't take it to a shop and say, hey, put a CD player in here. You're not allowed to do that with a company car because it's not my car. So that's where I spent most of my CD listening in. Yes, I still listen to CDs in my Jeep Wagoneer, in my Jeep Wrangler, but I don't spend the amount of hours in the car, even to this day, as I store most of those during the winter, things like that. I listened in my company car. Well, the company car no longer had a CD player. What the heck am I going to do with all these CDs? Now, yes, you can listen to them at home and all that kind of stuff. And I do that, of course, like most people do. But the time to sit down and listen to CDs is fleeting. When you got two little kids running around, you're always on the go, always doing kind of stuff, it's tough to listen to a CD. Yes, I have my entire CD collection backed up in 3 different spots. Of course, I have streaming systems like that, so if I'm in a pinch, I have all of that. I have all of my music saved onto 2 different hard drives and into the iPod, or what do you call it, the Apple Music. There it is. I have it all saved. I have it all backed up, so I have it. I have it an option on my phone, whatever. I can stream it from my phone into my company car, so that's how I get away with a lot of that kind of stuff. But then I started to think, okay, Kyle, you got over 12,000 CDs here. What are you going to do with this? And this is one of the things that is really rough to think about, and we don't like to think about. And one of these days we'll probably do a video about toys with this, but what happens when you're no longer here? What if I drop dead of a heart attack walking Lemmy tomorrow and I'm gone? What happens to the CD collection? And honestly, it becomes a burden is what it becomes. That CD collection is a burden to my wife, to my family. Now, depending who you are, that might not be a burden. But to my wife, hey, she likes music, she likes stuff. But guess what? Most of my music, she's not into. Most of the world, not into my music. There's not a lot of deep love out there for Witchfinder General or rare CD pressing of the new wave of British heavy metal legends. Some of you guys talking about, you don't even know who Witchfinder General is. So I have a lot of deep heavy metal in my collection. And I said, you know what? If I die, if I drop dead of a heart attack, I'm in big trouble, because you know what my wife's going to do? I guess I'm gone, so I shouldn't have to worry about it, but I know a lot of this stuff is worth good money. Really good money on these CDs. Now, a lot of people are saying CD's not worth any money. Well, if you got Michael Jackson's greatest hits, you got Whitney Houston, you got Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, even like the Eagles' greatest hits CDs, those really aren't worth anything. But however, the heavy metal fans, the heavy metal world out there, and I know I'm preaching to some of you guys out there, we love physical things, we love physical media. There is a huge market for heavy metal CDs, especially rare copies, deep cut bands, things like that, and that was primarily most of my collection. Like I said, not to toot my own horn, I have one of the best music collections of all time in the CD game. You can check out that video and see some deep, very expensive, very hard to find pressings of some of those CDs in my collection. So I knew this, and I knew my wife, unfortunately, bless her heart, what most likely is going to happen, she's not going to list all these on eBay. She's not going to do anything like that. She's just going to go, hey, Half Price Books is down the road. I'm going to take all this in there. And they're going to give her a dime or something, because they don't know a lot of that stuff, or they're going to take advantage. They don't need it, whatever. It's going to be a dime a piece. And I said, you know what? I got to really look at this. I have it backed up. I can listen to all this stuff whenever I want, but there's a certain magic to physical media, as most hardcore music fans know. But I was willing to give that up, and that's where That's So Hard to Say Goodbye comes in. Part 10 right here is I did decide to sell my entire music collection. I figured I better sell it now, make the money, instead of my wife, you know, making pennies on the dollar for these. It just made a lot of sense. And what helped this along too was, as you guys saw, as we talked about on the channel before, COVID hit. Obviously, everybody knows about COVID. Everybody's heard COVID. But remember when the stimulus checks were riding fast, riding free, riding hard like a young Lando Calrissian? There was a lot of money out there. People were stuck at home. They couldn't go on vacations. And they said, what did I do before all this? Well, people started buying action figures. People started buying video games. People started buying CDs and things they used to collect to pass the time. Well, it was the perfect time for me to get out of my collection. And I did go through, I did sell my entire CD collection. I still have a few left to go. And I did keep some, I gotta say, I did keep all my Motorhead, all my Night Demon, all my Clutch. Some of my favorite bands, I had their huge and whole discographies. I had to keep all that stuff. So I have kept some of it, but you know, 98%, 99% of it, whatever you want to call it, I did sell, and I am happy to report I did make a ton of money. I made way more money than I ever thought I would have made selling these things. It took me a little over a year to sell through them all, and I'm still selling some, as I've said before. But very, very interesting times. It came along at a perfect time to sell and perfect time to get out. As, yes, there are CDs that are valuable, but I do think in the long run, as time passes by, and this is another deep talk we're going to have about action figures one day. If you're buying for value on a lot of things, things pass, things change, all things must pass, as George Harrison would say. I don't know. I figured it was the perfect time to get out. It made a lot of sense. It freed up some real estate for toy rooms, things I wanted to do. And the nice thing that kind of comforted me at night in selling this entire collection was, Kyle, you still have your collection. You still have it all backed up in 3 spots. You also have the streaming service. Now, the streaming service doesn't have everything in my collection. Some of the deep, deep cut, out-of-print stuff, not in there, but I do have it backed up on my own computers and things like that. So I'm in luck there. It's not like I had to totally give it up, but without my company car being able to play my CDs, I don't really play at my other ones. I'm not and never have been a guy that really sits and listens to music around the house. I've been a man on the move, a man on the go, and that's when I do my listening. That's 99% of it. So it is sad, and it is sad to say goodbye, especially a collection like this that, like I said, I've worked on since I was about 10 years old. But I think I did the right thing. You got to look yourself in the mirror sometimes. You got to put everything together. If I drop dead, that collection was going to be worthless, and my family, unfortunately, wouldn't get the money, especially the amount of money. And it was a very, very significant amount of money I got for all this. I sold to a few heavy-duty private collectors, sold some on eBay, some groups, things like that. I had to take the money and run, and I really did, and I took it all the way to the bank, some might say. Now, a lot of you guys are probably saying, well, Kyle, what about your action figures? So your action figure, you drop dead tomorrow, you're in the same boat. That is true to some extent. However, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of close friends out there, and even my dad, that understands this world a heck of a lot more than my music world. I could count on maybe one hand. Actually, I couldn't even count on 2 fingers, buddies of mine that even know the bands I had, and some of the ones that are worth so much money. As much as I want to believe everybody loves deep cut heavy metal, new wave of British heavy metal legends, thrash metal legends, deep cuts and things, it's very few and far between. And maybe online, yes, tons of people online. But in my circle where I live, yeah, not going to happen. The people I work with just think I'm speaking a different language to them. So really hard to have help for my wife or family or whoever to sell that stuff on the back end. Action figures is a different story. You got David C. Anderson that lives right around the corner. He'll help my wife out. He'll bail her out. I got my dad, like I said, my dad knows enough to be dangerous on all the action figures. He knows what to do, where to go, things like that. My local hobby shop here, I got some connections there. They would help out with that. I've got a lot more connections to help clean this up because we all got to be honest with ourselves. We could die. I could die walking up the steps here. I could slip or something. Who knows what might happen? You could just die at any moment. So you always got to have those plans. It's a little bit morbid. It's really depressing. In truth, I wouldn't have liked to get rid of my CD collection, but I said now's the time. I can make the most money. I can take away that burden in case something happens. It's the height of COVID. You're making the most money. Who knows? I never did get COVID. I'm one of the lucky ones. Never got sick. But who knows? I could have got it. And you know what? That would have been all for me. And maybe it could have happened. I've been one my entire life. I never take a day off. I never miss work. I never miss school. One time I had pneumonia. I wouldn't give up when I was a sales rep out there filling shelves and things. I wouldn't stop. And my dad, actually, the next day I woke up and I couldn't move, and I was about a day away from death. My dad had to carry me into the emergency room, and I did permanent damage to my lungs, unfortunately. I would recommend it. If you're feeling bad, go to the doctor. Don't be a tough guy Kyle and try to tough it out. Because, yeah, if I got hit with COVID, that could be all she wrote for me. My lungs aren't what they used to be. But who is what they used to be? But when you're young, you're dumb, all that kind of stuff. So I knew all that in the back of my mind. I got a little bit of rambling going on in this video, but that's what these are about. And this is talking about the love of my CD collection that just had to go away. And it is sad to think about, and it is always sad when you work on something so hard for so many years. But like I said, I keep having the solace, or whatever you want to call it, in the back of my mind that, you know what, it is gone physically, but I have it all backed up, so I still have it. I can still go. I can dig out that Jaguar album I want to because I got it backed up on my hard drives, things like that. So it's gone, but it's not forgotten, and it's not really gone, and that's how I'm justifying it. As I always say in a lot of videos, we all got to justify these things to ourselves, and that's exactly what I have done. But at the end of the day, it was about my family, it was about making the money, and it was about just in case something happens, and I knew I had these backed up. So there it is. That's the story of my CD collection. If you want to see it in all of its glory, check out the link in the description below. I walk through there. I kind of talk a little bit like, what am I doing, the yin and yang. But you can see the deep collection there. A lot of stuff I got going on. And it's funny if you look at the comments in that video too. A lot of people are saying, well, you know, you could buy CD players. I don't know what your financial status is, but if you go to Walmart, you can get a CD player. And it was like, it's not about the CD player. I can find a CD player. It's just the state of everything I explained in this video. So there it is. That's So Hard to Say Goodbye, Part 10. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this answers some questions from you guys about, hey, Kyle, how's your music collection? Where's your CD collection? I'm not totally done. Like I said, there's a few bands I'm still buying everything. I'm buying the physical stuff for. Motorhead, my favorite band of all time for sure. I'm never going to miss a Motorhead release of any kind. But you got to do those kind of things sometimes. And I ask you guys in the comments below, let me know what you've had to purge. You got any deep cuts like that? You know, I heard from people in the description of the other video, oh yeah, I had to sell some of my CDs, but they didn't make money. But they went back to, well, it's Whitney Houston's greatest hits. Everybody's had that. That sold like 1 million copies. Some of the deep cut stuff's the stuff that's worth the money. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this rambling video here on That's So Hard to Say Goodbye Part 10. And who knows, we might have a That's So Hard to Say Goodbye Part 11 coming to you sooner than expected. But for all the fun stuff on the channel, as you guys know, make sure you subscribe, turn on the old notification bell, like this video, like it for Kyle's CD collection that had to go away, putting a tear right there. Follow along on Patreon for this video and a lot of other bonus early content giveaways. You guys know the drill by now. SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. So for all things must pass, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.